Well, it's been nice knowing you, Merano. Hey, what's up? I'm Rafael di Furia, aka Rafi D, and I am back at it again on another beautiful Friday night. And in this week's video, I'm here in Merano, the city where I have been living for 2 years now, just a little over 2 years, and it has been quite an adventure and quite an amazing time here, but it's coming time to move on to the next place. So today I wanted to do a little video kind of going through Merano and showing you kind of some of my favorite things and giving you a little bit of a tour of the place and also kind of a farewell to Merano. But before we get too much deeper into the video, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with the notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I'd really appreciate it, as it does help out the channel. But if you'd like to help make more content like this possible on a monthly basis, please consider becoming a monthly patron over on rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon. Or if you'd like to help out just once, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. But where am I right now? This is the train station here in Merano, and this is the first point of entry for where most people come into the city. It also doubles as a bus stop, but if you come by car, there is once the bus goes by, there is a parking lot over there. But there are parking lots that are closer to the center. When you come to Merano and you get off at the train, how do you get to the center? What's the easiest way? Well, generally, what a lot of people do is the almost more direct ways. They get out of the train station and they just go up to this street right here, because I don't want to say it's more direct, but there's only 2 turns. You come out of the station and then you just make a left turn up at the end, at the roundabout there. But actually there is a little bit of a faster way to get to the center. If you go up the street, that it's right at this little piazza right here with this statue on Via Andreas Hofer, or otherwise known as Andreas Hofer Straße. Because again, remember, if you've seen my videos before, this is a bilingual area where, well, actually trilingual if you go to some parts of the region. This region, of course, used to be part of Austria, which is why you have the Austrian and German influence, and those languages still live on today. And in even some places, you have a language called Ladin, not Latin, Ladin with a D. It's interesting and unique language. I unfortunately haven't heard so much since I've lived here, but from what little I have heard, it's an interesting language. It's got some like Italian kind of sounds in it, but then it's got all of these other kinds of sounds that are just something else. But anyway, if you go up this street, remember we were just at the train station. When you come up from the train station, you make a right onto Via Mainardo or Meinardstraße. It's a beautiful little covered street with a lot of trees. If you watched my video that I released last week, this was where they had the market, and the market actually goes all the way almost up until the front of the train station. Like right at the end of that street, that corner that I was standing on is basically where the market finishes. And also in the parking lot across the street from where I was, the market also continues on into there. Even though the other way seems a little bit easier, this way is, I would say, roughly just as direct, but it's a little bit of curvy and there's an extra turn that you have to make, but I would say it's a little bit of a faster walk. Also, for those of you who are into health food, natural foods, there is also a health food store here. A bit pricey. More pricey probably than someplace that you might find in the States, but they carry mostly like German health foods, a lot of gluten-free stuff, nuts, berries, all that kind of stuff, vegetables, fresh vegetables. They even have a bakery section. It's right here and it's called Naturalia. They also have one in Bolzano, but this one here in Merano is a bit bigger. But if you just continue up on this street, just keep on going straight, then you just get to the center. Like I showed in my video last week when I was going out to do a little shopping, this is exactly where I was. This little street right here is where I got my mother's gift. So I'm not going to go into details about getting from this street on, because like I said in that video, if you go watch that video, if you just continue up this street, then you get up to a little piazza where the police station is, and then that is the center. And by the way, this is going to be the video where I actually take you guys up on top of the mountain here in Merano. I'm not sure if I'm going to walk up or if I'm going to take a chairlift up. We'll see. I'll at least show you where the chairlift is so you guys can make that decision yourself when you want to come here, just so you know where it is. Because it's also right in the center of the town. I'm not sure if it's quite the experience that I'm looking for today. So instead of going up to the train station like I was originally planning, I showed that to you guys in last week's video, and also a bit of Via Portici. At the end of this video, I'll go back to Via Portici, but because we covered that in last week's video, maybe we'll just go a little bit of a different way, and I'll show you a little bit of another part of Merano, just another block over that I haven't shown in a video before. But when you get to the Ottohuberstrasse, or Via Ottohuber, if you take a right and you get to the little fountain back there, you take a right and you'll get to a small mall. I wouldn't say it's anything that is really so impressive, but it is nice to have as somebody who lives here, or if you're just traveling here and you need like a SD card, a memory card, just kind of last second sort of thing. There is a really great electronics store here, not the cheapest. You will probably find much cheaper on Amazon, but for those of you who are familiar with Media World, it's like kind of like Best Buy, but here in Italy, but a lot smaller than Best Buy. It's only just one block up from where I was talking about before. Like just right here, you can already start to see it a bit, this building right here. But then also, if you want to get some water, like I was saying, if you go to a supermarket to get water, you will spend a lot less than if you go to just a cafe or something. And you could also get some food there, whatever you want, and do like an Italian picnic. Get some bread, some cold cuts, and take it over down to the river, because there are places down by the river where you can go sit and just enjoy a nice spring day. There's also like kind of a little mini pedestrian mall inside of here that has some shops and a few little small things. You can go through there and get to the center that way also. You get onto Via delle Corse. Like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, if you come from the train station to the center, what a lot of people do is they just take that right and follow that street down to a roundabout. And if you were to take that route, you would actually get here. So you're basically in the same place. But if you wanted a faster, more direct route to get to the center, you would continue up on that corner where I had made this turn before, like I did in my video last week. So this is the mall right here, but if you continue just directly up that street, you get right up to the river. And there's a walkway along the river, and very pleasant walk, and especially like right now. I mean, unfortunately the weather is not so great right now. It's not a sunny day, and this place really shines on a sunny day. But the reason why I'm recording this video today is because I'm moving. Like, I'm not gonna have like really another opportunity to film this unless I were to come back. But if you're coming to Merano and you're looking for a phone provider while you're here, you have some options just right here in the center. You have Vodafone right there. They're generally the most expensive, but they are supposed to have really good coverage. And then up there, it's a little hard to see, you have the 3 store where I've showed in a video before. Then you have Tim. And then actually just right over there, you have a Wind store. So everything is like right here if you're needing a phone, if you don't have one already. But I would say I've had really bad experiences with Tim, so I could never recommend them. But with 3 and Wind, I would say you're probably pretty safe to go with them. Before we get too much deeper into the video, and I show you like a little bit more of the center, before we go up the mountain, there's something that I think is really important to do when you come to Merano. There's a lot of really good gelato here, but my absolute favorite is right up, if you get right on to the Corso della Libertà, this main Tieto Plaza, or Piazza Tietro. If you just go right up here, right before the bridge, I'll show you in a second. Up on the right here is my favorite gelato place, gelateria, called Constantine. And they have, oh, so good. And I think it's a really good way to get a little trip here in Merano started. You can walk around with the gelato too. Okay, so we are right at the river now. And this is the bridge. And just on the right here is Constantine. Wow. Yeah, we got a lot of rain yesterday, so the river is a lot higher than it would normally be. And usually it's also really crystal clear, but we had a really big storm last night and we're supposed to have more bad weather too. But let's get over to the important stuff. I've showed you guys Constantine before, but I think it's important just to revisit, just to make sure you know about it. You guys.
Grazie, buona giornata.
Anche te, ciao.
Ciao.
Now that we have the most important part of this this little trip of ours, gelato, I'm gonna get started on this, but I won't make you guys watch me eat this. But I really recommend the cookies flavor there. You can get cookies at a lot of different gelaterias, but I would say this one is probably my favorite. It's got almost like a little bit of a, I don't know, popcorn, buttered popcorn sort of flavor to it. I like it. It sounds strange, but really good. So over here on the other side of the river is one of the places where I was telling you guys where you can actually go and sit, bring your own little picnic meal with you, or there are places up the river also. or you can go, they have a bunch of different cafes and restaurants here along the river, and there's also a couple down there. There's one in particular that I really like. We'll get to that later. I like it just because you can actually sit right up next to the river rather than a little bit separated away from it, because at some of these places you can't quite see the river when you're sitting down. So you can see a little bit depending on where you're seated, of course. Also on the other side of the river here, you have the thermen, the thermal baths. It's, I believe, about 17 euros for like 2 hours in the evening. Really nice place. I've only gone once just because it was a friend had a gift card and he said, oh, come along with me, I'll pay for you. I was like, okay, whatever, because for me, I think it's a little ridiculous, especially when you have a river right here to pay like almost 20 euros just to go swimming. There are other pools that you can go to, but I would say at the Terme, it is worth it if you're here on vacation, so bring a bathing suit with you. And for those of you who've seen my video about the Christmas market here in Merano, this is all just right where it is. They fill up this whole area with different booths and food, and goodies and gifts and all different kinds of things here. But during the rest of the year, this is what it looks like. But this up here is the cultural center. There's also a restaurant there where if you go down this street right here, this is the kind of main Sparkassenplatz, the Piazza Casa del Risparmio. But if you go down here, which is right where we were before, where I took the right up to Constantine, we're doing a very zigzaggy kind of route. If you go up this street here and then on the left, there is a place called Force. I'll just walk up there just to show you. And this is a local brewery, restaurant, beer garden, and they've got a lot of good food there. A little bit on the expensive side, but in comparison to a lot of other restaurants here, it's very fairly priced. Here, things tend to be a lot more expensive than a lot of other places. Also, actually, the tourist center is right here. So if you're needing the tourist center, you can go and check this place out. We've got a lot of great information, and usually they have somebody who does speak English there. This right up here with those kind of wooden doorways is Forst. They have an indoor area, a beer garden in the back behind the main restaurant, and you can go eat there. But if you're looking for something also that's traditional, but more kind of snack food, you can go to here. It's called Pure Südtirol. And they have like all the different kinds of speck and meats and all those yummy different things. They have a bakery section. They also have a lot of things that you could take home as gifts with you. You can get a lot of different things. You can get fresh eggs, a lot of different things. So I'd recommend checking that out while you're here. It's really a shame the weather hasn't been better recently, because the mountains on a sunny day are just bright green, gorgeous, and you can often see snow on them. Actually, there's still a little bit of snow on there. I don't know if you can see that. But this year it's been pretty cold up until just a couple weeks ago. That's why there's still snow now, but normally there wouldn't be this much snow this late into the year. Oh, and also, if you need ATM, you can get it here at Sparkasse. All the banks here, you can do ATM. I just happen to know these are reliable. But one of the reasons why I'm going up this way is so that I can show you where the chairlift is here in Merano. So if you want to take a chairlift up to the top of the mountain, you can. And they also have a restaurant right at the top of the chairlift. I don't think I'm going to be doing that today, but just so you guys can see where it is. It's just right here, right in the center, and the street that intersects with this one here is the Via Portici. But then if you go down this street past the Comune, you'll get right to the chairlift. So let's go down there and I'll show you. So I guess you guys can probably see it from here. You have the chairlift, which goes all the way up to the mountain, to that little building up there. But right here, where you see the painted door that says Segovia or Sesselift, that takes you up to the Dorf Tyrol, or Tirolo, which is just a little village up on top of the mountain. It's technically part of Merano, but it's also separate. But you come here, you hop on, and that's it. But now I'm going to go back to the Via Portici, go up the Via Portici, and go to the main Duomo, the main cathedral here. Well, thankfully the Portici are not as packed as they normally are, but sometimes it can really get packed under there, like people just shoulder to shoulder. Sometimes I'd rather walk in the middle, but on a day like this, it doesn't really make such a difference between if you're under there or out here, because one is not really going to be hotter or cooler than the other. But in the winter, I'd be more likely to walk under. In the summer, I'd also be more likely to walk under, because it'll be cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. Also drier in the winter too. Also, while you're here in Merano, I'd recommend walking down some of these little side streets because you never know quite what you'll find. There are a lot of stores down them, and some have restaurants. There's not really a place that I would say in the center that's really sketchy, so I wouldn't say there's really anything to worry about, nothing at this point in time. That could always change in the future, you never know. But like, for example, if you go down here and you go down the stairs here at the Roma Keller, you will get down to the Forst restaurant, which I was telling you about over on the other side. Also, some of these passageways are to get between this street and the streets over there. Just little shortcuts, just something a lot of tourists normally don't check out here. So right now we are in front of the Duomo here in Merano. It's a pretty big building, and it's actually built more in kind of the German style rather than more of an Italian style of church. And then when we get in there, you'll see that the church is actually slightly curved. I don't know if this camera will pick it up so well because you really see it more when you're here in person, but they kind of built it in line with the mountainside. So rather than the church being like straight, like rather than the pews and everything being lined up, everything curves off a little bit to the left. It's usually open. It's really worth checking out. They have some beautiful stained glass. There's not a ton in there. It really is this beautiful, calm, peaceful, quiet space. Like even sometimes when the center is like hustling and bustling and really busy, it's still completely peaceful and serene inside of there. There's always tourists in there, that's without a doubt. But then there's also a little chapel just behind. It's just right here. Anyway, so the plan now is to go up there. That tower. I filmed up there before, but today I'll actually take you guys up there and I'll show you how to get there. So basically, you are on the Via Portici and you just come straight up the street. You can either take that street there and then take a left. It just curves up and goes around. Or you can go up this little street right here, which is a little bit more direct. I recommend going up one way and down the other way, just so that you can see a little bit of a difference between the places. Just something different, something unique, something new. Because this part of Italy, it's so different than anywhere else in the country that you'll see. I mean, okay, if you go around this region, fine. It'll be very similar to a lot of what you'll see, but in comparison to the rest of the country, outside of this region, very, very different. One really nice thing about a lot of places here in Italy is that they just have these little fountains where you can go and fill up your water. These are all pretty much fresh water. And when you go to a restaurant here and you ask for regular bottled water, and basically that water there is the same stuff that you're drinking in the bottle. It's all safe to drink here. I don't know so much about other parts of the country, but here, generally drinking out of the tap, very safe. I do it like back in the States, only from a filter, and sometimes I think here maybe it would be better to use a filter, but yeah, no, it's totally fine. Mostly glacial water here. But just before we get up, there's a little restaurant that in the better weather, oh, this must have been closed because of the weather. You can see a broken tree there. Crushed the roof a bit. Big tree too, heavy. But now we are just getting to the edge of the old center, and we are getting up to an old bridge. Merano itself, I believe, has had different names over the years. I mean, of course, like Merano, Meran. This is just one small example. But the area has been settled since before Roman times. And this, where I'm taking you now, back up to the river, is kind of one little last remnant from that era. This is like really the only kind of Roman-ish ruin, but you don't really see anything that's actually really Roman, other than maybe the base. This bridge has been here basically since Roman times, but has been built, rebuilt, and built again. The last time it was built, I believe, was when this area was a part of the Austro-Hungarian Habsburg Empire. Wow, that river is really rushing today. It's usually quite a bit more calm. But there's always a lot of water running through, and it's always like you can see straight through to the bottom. Again, I really wish the weather were better so that I could show you Meran at its best. But actually the bridge right now is closed. It must be closed because of the weather that we've been having. Interesting, probably because there's a lot of these big older trees here. But anyway, If you come to Merano, I recommend walking out into the middle of there and you can see the village off in the distance. But
If the bridge is open, which it always is, like I've never been here when it's closed before, but I'm sure it's because of the weather we've been having.
then there's this stairway right here in front, and you can take this up, and that will take you up to the tower that I told you about before. Once you get to the top of these stairs, you just continue across the street, and that's the little passageway we went through before. But you just go up here, and this path takes you all the way to the top. When you get basically to the top, there's a restaurant there, and then if you continue down the path, there are more restaurants also. And actually when you get to the tower, there's like a little bar, cafe, restaurant. I'm really not a hiker, but for me this isn't too bad. But yeah, you see people running up here. One of the reasons why I like coming up here and showing people who come to visit up here is just because you get such a beautiful view of this area. Really, it's just this unique, beautiful view that you don't really see anywhere else. Because of the videos I make, there have been a number of you who've contacted me saying, hey, I'm coming to Merano, do you want to meet up? And I say, sure. And if I have like a free afternoon or whatever, I'm more than happy to offer to show around, give a little mini tour. And so this has kind of become roughly the tour route that I take people on when they come here, or some of the main points that I show people. There are a couple ways to get up here, a couple different paths. That path is probably the most steep, but it's the most direct. So some of you may remember this view from when I recorded not too long ago. Looking out at this vista here, then it started raining. One thing that I didn't even include in that video was that right when I was starting to pack up because of the rain, there was actually a truck, a little truck, that was trying to come here, and it took up the complete width of this path, and it was like honking at me, get out of the way, get out of the way. Like, where am I gonna go? There's nowhere to go up here. It's just the edge. That's it. But down there is where we were. The bridge is just behind these buildings right here. You can still hear the river from here. 5:25, yeah, they're probably closed now. Too bad, because it'd be nice to sit up here and just relax for a few minutes. I mean, they have benches, but sit and relax with some water and something to fill my belly. But now we are getting up to the powder tower where they used to store black powder. You can go up to the top there, but I'm not going to do that in this video because I think actually the view from down here is much better than what you can see from up there. It's beautiful up there nonetheless, but I just think it's better from down here. If you do come here and you are interested in going up to the top, you just go up these stairs here and it'll take you inside, and there's a spiral staircase that goes all the way up. Coming up here also puts Merano into a whole new perspective. Like, that is the tower. That's the church where we just were a few minutes ago. That over there is the thermal baths, the two kind of tannish buildings with the glass all on top. You have the Via Portici, it just continues right up here. The train station is roughly this-ish direction. And yeah, oh, look at just the sun coming down. I'll continue up a little bit just because there's another valley where if you go to the train station, you can switch onto another train and get up to the next valley. It's supposed to be beautiful. I've lived here for 2 years, but I've still never done that trip before just because I've never had the time. But just look at that view. Look at it. This is part of why I chose this place to live, because where I was living before, I had this really stressful work life, and I wanted to be in the mountains. I don't climb the mountains, I like to look at them. I like to live in the valley and look up at the mountains. That's more my style. But wow. But if you continue down the valley here, that goes directly to Bolzano. So when you take the train or the highway, whatever it may be, then you just continue down this valley here, and that's Bolzano in about 45-ish minutes, 50 minutes, depending on the day. There are houses and vacation homes up here, but it's a hike to get up here. There are roads that do go up higher because the village is up a bit higher. And there are a number of hotels and other restaurants and guest houses up here. Whatever kind of experience that you're looking for here, you'll be able to find it. I mean, of course, not a big city experience, but when we're talking about small city, in the mountains, alpine kind of experience, you'll be able to find that here. Also, you might notice that there are palm trees here. And this is actually one of the things that Merano is pretty well known for. There are a lot of palm trees here. They're not from here. They were transported here. But it's one of the furthest places north where you can actually grow palm trees. In the front garden of the building where I live, we actually have a coconut tree. But because it gets so cold here in the winter, it actually kills off the ability for that tree to produce coconuts. If you go up there, that is the other valley that I was telling you about. There are a bunch of little towns up there. If you just drive up this way, or if you could even just fly right over the mountains, Switzerland is not too far off in that direction. I think within like 2 hours, maybe 3 by car. You know, I've never been to this place, and it looks like there's people there, so they might be open, but it's probably way too early to get a bite, because most places here don't do dinner until at the very earliest 6. But let's see. I'll look at the hours and look at the menu, see if there's anything interesting. I'm really feeling in the mood for a burger. And before anybody gives me crap about wanting to get a burger, try being abroad for 10 years. Then you'll understand my cravings. Oh, and they also have it in English here. Home smoked Nordic salmon. Carpaccio. Ooh, I love that. Schlutzkrapfen are really good. They're like these little half moon. They're actually, I think, in Italian called mezzalune. The half moon pasta, like a ravioli kind of thing. So they had a lot of things that looked like they would be absolutely delicious, and I'm sure a restaurant like that is actually really good. They're actually part of a group of, I think, 3 restaurants in this town, and they're supposed to be some of the best in the city. But I haven't eaten at any of them, so I would say it's probably a safe bet to get some. Hard to go wrong here, because a lot of the food here is really all the same kind of stuff. It's just slight variations. But if you go to a place like that, or any of the places in the center, it's gonna really be hard to go wrong. It seems like the weather, it might actually just be starting to change right now. It's starting to get windy, and this is what happened yesterday. It got really windy all of a sudden, and like trees started falling. So yeah, I think I'm gonna head down now, but I would say this is not so common for Merano. Anyway, now that we are back down at the bridge, I'm gonna take you back down into the town. Anyway, we'll just see a little bit more. When we came up from this street here, but when we go back now, we're gonna go down to the left. I know there's at least one other tree like that in the town. I'm sure there's probably even more. But, ooh, thunder. Whatever, I'll risk it. But instead of actually going down to the cathedral, instead of going down this way, we are going to go down here, because you can get down to the Passeggiata. This is the real Merano here. Like anything kind of out of this it's Merano, but this is like Old Town, what Merano used to be. Normally, you can actually go down here and sit right there, right along the river. And you can even go down here. There's all these little places to sit down, have a little picnic. Or of course, you can go and have a little bite to eat here. Get a little gelato or a little toasted grilled cheese sandwich. And then also, the last Saturday of every month, they have a flea market that goes all in here, all along here, and then goes up there a little bit too. This is just all part of the little life here in Merano. They have antiques, fake antiques, real antiques, times clothing, lederhosen, of course, because this is where we are. Old tools. If you're into tools, and especially tool restoration or antique tools of any kind, they always have some good old school hand tools here. And then often right here, you can actually rent segways if you want a little segway tour around the town. Oh, of course, another gelato stop. And this is where I was talking about earlier in the video, where you can grab a bite to eat and just sit right along the river. At this place in particular, Cafe Sisi, they have some of those Schlutzkrapfen I was telling you about before that are really, really good. Oh wow. And Cafe Darling, this is this cafe right here. This is kind of the famous cafe a lot of people go to here, that a lot of people know about. And they actually had to close down, I guess, because of this tree that fell down. Absolutely huge. And yesterday I saw a video where they actually had a medical helicopter land on the middle of that bridge over there to get some people out of here because they were hurt. But wow, that is, I mean, that was like this yesterday. And then all of a sudden we have this. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. What a hoot to been there, because it was actually on top, I think, of the cafe yesterday. Sketchy. We're back in the center right now. Oh, and all over the place here, you have these like little places where you can buy salamis and all the like local specialty goods, like some really yummy stuff. But if you're gonna buy this stuff, I would say the best places to go would either be to Pur, where I went here in this video, or like I went to in last video, to Siebenfurcher, because Siebenfurcher especially has a lot of really good stuff. There are the mountains down there, still with some snow on the top of the peaks. Again, if you keep going, that's the valley up in that direction, and if you kept going there, that's where Switzerland would be. But down here on the right is where they have forest, or on the left is where they have Pur. Those places that I was showing you earlier. Or then if you come up into the town, then you can enter into the town here, and you can go to the Via Portici here. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I don't know if this is going to be my last video from Merano, but it could be. There might be one more. Let's see. Let's see how things go. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you at least found it entertaining or informational, and if you ever come here, and that some of this information may have helped you. And of course, if you'd like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I'd really appreciate it, as it does help out the channel. But if you'd like to help out the channel in another way and make more videos like this possible on a monthly basis, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon, or if you'd like to help out just once, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. Huge, huge, huge thank you to those of you who have been making videos like this possible. It really makes a huge difference in my ability to be able to continue. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And of course, as always, I will see you all next Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend and a great week, and I'll see you all next time. Later.